Welcome to a conversation with Senator Michael Moore. My name's Kevin Byrne, and Senator Michael Moore is our state senator who represents a whole bunch of towns and parts of Worcester, and the only one that's really important, as we all know, living in beautiful downtown Shrewsbury, is the 38,000 residents of Shrewsbury that Senator Michael Moore represents and helps and aids and assists. See, that's the way I avoid trying to remember all of the bloody cities and towns
Well, you
that
had
you
it-
have.
you
But
had it
now they're
down.
going to get changed,
Yes.
and so I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to say Shrewsbury and those other places from now on. Senator, how are you?
I'm good. How are
What
you?
are you doing since? What have you been doing since the last time we met, which was not terribly long ago?
No, we actually
about a month.
we've had a pretty good routine going.
Yeah,
Um,
we're really
We're rolling well
we're
now.
really rocking on this sort of
I'll
stuff.
say, my son graduated high school.
Ah, he did.
Yeah, and he chose a college,
Which one?
UMass Amherst.
Ah,
So-
okay. He was looking at three of them, and you told me which there was.
Yeah, he was looking at UNH,
UNH,
UConn,
all right.
UMass.
Okay. All right.
So he made the big decision on
All
UMass.
right, good. Stay in Massachusetts.
Yeah,
Okay.
so-
In Amherst.
Then my daughter finished up her junior year now. So,
Unbelievable.
yeah, so it's,
You are getting, there are just a lot, I've known.
Yeah, there's quite a few grays.
Those little grays
Yeah.
are really kind of creeping in there, Michael.
Yeah.
At this stage, really. But that's amazing, having a kid go off to college.
yeah.
I told you just before, tomorrow, we're going to Philadelphia. My wife and my daughter from here are driving to Philadelphia. I haven't been in Philadelphia since, I remember when the kids were little, we went down and did the Liberty Bell
Yeah.
and all that kind of good stuff. But we're going down because I have, as young as I am, I have a granddaughter who's graduating from Drexel University in Philadelphia.
Oh, nice.
And that's not possible because I'm not old enough to have a granddaughter is at that stage,
Well, just think when you hit.
As she says, I'm Da. Okay,
Okay.
it's an Irish term. Okay, so Da. I don't need that funny ID anymore. I said, oh, I know about that. She said, I got a real ID now because I'm 21.
Well, just think, soon you'll have maybe too soon, then you'll have a great grandchild.
Oh, God Almighty! All right, we don't.
You don't think- wanna think about that?
I'm not that much into legacy. Okay? I'm still trying to figure out why all my children are in their 50s at this stage, but that's neither here nor there. So, he's out. What's he doing for the summer? Get a job? Did you get him a job? How did he get a job at the White House? At the State House? Oh, the
No,
White
actually,
House.
he's working at the local grocery store.
Ah, okay, good,
I've
good.
offered to help with other types of employment, but he wants to work there and
You get it.
because he wants his time off to spend with his friends before he goes off to school.
No problem with that, my
Yeah,
friend.
so, this
All right.
was his last summer, I guess.
That'll be different. That first year is traumatic for a substantial number of kids, really.
Yeah.
It's really, all of a sudden, you're on your own, and you're surrounded by a lot of people you don't know.
Well, it's funny.
It takes a little settling.
Yeah, it's funny, my daughter wanted a small school.
Toughs.
Yep.
Yeah.
He wanted a Division I school.
Oh, okay. All
So
right.
it was
Okay.
interesting that her first would go for the small one and him
Right.
for the larger one.
The Division I and everything except football. When's the last time they won they won their last football game in 1948, I think.
It's been a while. No,
That's a
but
joke, sorry.
It's been a while since they've had a good football
I
season, I
know,
think.
well, it's not their strength.
yeah.
They have great basketball teams in other sports.
Well, are the basketball, I know for a while they had a great basketball program. I don't know if it's, who was it, Calipari? Was he the one, am I thinking? Who's the?
Yeah, he was there for a period of time. He keeps bouncing around all over the place.
Okay.
He stays places a few years and then
And
they
he
catch
moves
him
on.
and he moves on to
Yeah.
someplace else.
Well,
So,
one of the biggest things that he liked about it was the food.
the food?
The food at the school. They've been ranked #1 for the last 10
Are
years.
you kidding me?
Yeah, so we like that, and the other part was that they have more after-school activities
Oh, yeah, okay.
for students than
It's
UNH or
a
some other
gorgeous
schools.
campus, it really is. It's an enormous campus, really.
But you know, and I actually kind of like the UNH campus. It was more outdoors, more open. Didn't have
It's
the,
New Hampshire.
yeah, but it didn't have the city-like feel where UMass.
Oh, it is now, it's high rises.
Yeah,
All over
so-
the place. But that's good, he's
Yeah.
doing it, all right. So, other than that, getting your kids squared away, we were just asking Liz, I think the last time we did a program, my memory is it was election day, and we were talking about
Pretty
who
close
was
to it,
running
yeah.
and stuff
Oh,
like
oh,
that.
may have been
So
that
we
day.
had our local elections, May 7th. Remember, I can never remember what the date was. It was Tuesday, May 7th, and I think we did a program that afternoon. And it turns out that our two selectmen, John Samuel was reelected, and we have a new bright shiny face whose name is Michelle Conlon.
Yes.
Nice lady.
Yeah, I met her. She seemed very nice.
Yeah, she is very nice. Nice family, 3 little kids. Not little, I mean, they're grammar school kids. I remember that centuries ago, okay? And then the school committee, nice lady named Heffernan was reelected, and the other lady whose name I'm gonna mispronounce is Boucher, something like that. I should remember, because I had her lawn sign on the front of my house, so I should remember what.
Do you have one of the houses that has everyone signed?
At some point, I have to tell them I've run out of lawn, you know. I'm in the old section in which we have 100 feet worth of frontage, and in those days, they gave you 100 feet worth of frontage, and I kept running out of lawn signs. I used to sneak it up a little bit on the house next to me, but I got a whole bunch of them. I got the largest collection of lawn signs in my garage. I used to say the largest collection of losing lawn signs because it seemed as though everybody that stuck out there lost for a period of time.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
How long ago was that?
Well, when's the last time we had a Democratic governor? Because that went back 1,000 years, and I always had whoever ran against whoever the Republican was for governor, and and they all lost. I had a Birmingham sign, a Grossman sign.
Birmingham, Grossman,
Yeah.
Riley.
Yeah. Whoever they were, they all
Coakley.
lost. So I have, had a big sign. I used to kid with people. Somebody asked me at one point, running local, can I put a sign on your lawn? And I said, sure, of course you can, but you just got to remember, I got the largest collection of losing lawn signs in my garage. She never showed up with signs. We've had a convention, by the way.
Yes.
Just
past Saturday.
just the last Saturday here
Yeah.
in beautiful downtown Worcester.
Yes, it was actually pretty well organized and
Or as the
run.
Warriors pronounce it, Worcester.
Worcester, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That was an embarrassing game, the last one.
Oh, yeah, that wasn't, well, the one before was exciting, so
Yeah.
there it is. Why do they all interesting, I'll wind up going seven games? I'm sorry, I'm being cynical, okay?
Well,
I'm not gonna say ka-ching, but
But it is funny, because I did expect them, the Celtics, to get blown out the other night. Just because, I don't want to say they.
Oh, the first game you're talking about?
The second game. I don't know if San Francisco was embarrassed by the margin they lost by.
Yeah.
So I thought their intensity was going to come out a little bit stronger than the
It
Celtics.
certainly was.
Yeah.
100 and something to 88, okay, well, whatever. Hey, they're back in Boston.
Yes.
Boston,
Yep.
Boston, as we South Bostonians pronounce it anyway.
How do you pronounce it?
Boston.
Boston.
Boston. And it's one word, South Boston. Where'd you grow up? South Boston, okay.
Why don't
And
you
it's
South-
it's Dorchester, okay. And anybody in Boston who says, do you know where Massachusetts Avenue is? And the answer to it is no, but I know where Mass Ave is. One word, Mass Ave, really. Part of my heritage. So, the convention was interesting.
Yes.
Healy, well, almost everybody who, because of the 15% rule, almost everybody who showed up is going to be on.
Yeah, they were
is going to
two-
be on an election, except.
There were 2 from the lieutenant governor's race. That
Yeah,
I
but
think-
that's because there were 5
There
or
were
6
5,
of them,
yeah.
right, that were running for it.
So Martha Coakley, Maura Haley.
I have her sign, by the way, in my garage.
Well, you can keep that one.
Another loser.
So Maura Haley
Yeah.
won, I think it was like 79 to 21.
Yeah.
So she won the convention. I think for lieutenant governor, Kim Driscoll may have,
I lost track.
yeah.
At this stage.
And then the state auditor's race between DeZaglio and Dempsey.
Dempsey, right.
I think Dempsey won
Yeah, but
53 to 47, so it was close.
reasonably close.
Yeah, and the same, and then the Attorney General's race, you had, the first
yeah.
ballot, you had Andrea Campbell, actually, you had 39%.
Right.
And,
But you have to hit the 50 rule.
yeah,
to
and
do it.
then Quentin Palfrey had 38%, and then you had that Shannon Lesh Reardon.
Right.
Had 21%. So she then pulled out of the second. So she got made the ballot. She pulled out of the nomination process because she made it. And then Quentin Palfrey ended up getting over the 51%. Again, it's just barely beating Campbell, so that was close. And then I think who else was? Oh, then Billy Galvin, Secretary of State.
Poor Billy. Not poor Billy. We were talking before we went on.
Yeah.
Bill Kelvin has been the Secretary of State 8 terms. How long is the terms? Is it 4?
4 years.
Okay, so that's 8 times 4. It used to be 32. I don't know what it is now. But he, going back to my days when I went to conventions, okay, and I'll tell you why I stopped going in a minute. He would go, he'd have 2 or 3 people with him, and he'd show up, he'd talk to some people and the rest of it. He would go, whoever was running against him in the convention aspect of
Yep.
it would win. Billy would come in second, and then they would all go home, and then in the election, Billy would win.
Yeah.
Absolutely fascinating. And apparently he did the same thing this year.
Yeah. Well, he hasn't won the election yet, but
No, I'm talking about the
Yep.
convention.
he's,
But it's almost, okay.
yeah.
We got that out of the way. Let's go on from there. It's going to be fascinating. I know there are an awful lot of Republicans in Shrewsbury, but I got to tell you, I was somewhat embarrassed with the Republican convention. It just seems like, it just seems to me, and I think by a lot of people, they're a little out of touch with Massachusetts and Massachusetts politics and things of that nature. But, and some of the things that were said were just kind of absurd. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Even
I guess
Governor Baker didn't go. Okay.
I guess the question is, are they out of touch with the Republican Party here?
Yeah.
Have they, taken over?
I don't think there's any question they're out of touch with the Republican Party, for Pete's sake,
Yeah.
I was looking at the monies. One of the television programs recently was doing the amount of money that they had in their campaign funds, and the lowest one that he had, like under $200,000, was the guy who they expect is going to be governor, and the guys running against him had something like $800,000 or $900,000. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but that is Massachusetts politics, right?
Yeah.
It's a fascinating game in a sense.
And I don't know too much about the second candidate for their.
Yeah, he's a businessman from.
Yeah, Doughty or something?
Something
Doughty?
something
Okay.
like
Yeah.
that, really and truly.
So-
He's got a lot of joke, probably his own.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. So,
All right, so that will all be fun and games come September, right?
yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. The State House. Remember that place in the State House? You guys finally opened it a while ago.
Finally headed back in there again.
Everybody can roam through the corridors and all that sort of stuff. And we're still doing budgets.
Yes.
Okay. Funny story. For the last couple of programs, we would start up talking, and by the time I said, okay, now we're going to talk about the budget, and Liz would say, you got 30 seconds left. Okay, so we didn't get to talk about the budget. And then we did a second program, and we got to some aspect of it, but it was still, you guys were
Rush.
still pushing and parting all over the place. So I had asked Shelley, who we know is really and truly the senator. I've said that a separate time, okay. But we asked, you have a bright new shiny face to me down there, Alex.
Yes.
Okay, what's his title?
He's media communications director.
Okay, all right.
Alex Mutafian.
All right. So Shelley kicked me over on Alex, and she said, Alex is going to send you a whole lot of stuff, okay? So Alex sent me a whole lot of stuff. yesterday, okay, which I couldn't find on my crazy phone.
Yeah.
But today I found it, and I finally got it. And what he did is, whatever anybody in the world wants to know about the present status of the Senate budget, as it's going to, it's in conference now,
Yes.
but this is the Senate budget. These 15 pages will tell you where every cent of that budget is going. The 49,780,000,000
Yes.
dollar budget, spending budget, and there's other stuff on top. We got it all here. Write to me, and I'll I was going to say I'll fax it to you. Anybody have a fax machine anymore?
I think people still must have.
Do they? Our world was always, you faxed everything. Now it's emails. Okay.
Oh, actually, no, yeah, we actually have, you can fax information to my office, but it comes through our email. Yeah, if I remember correctly, yeah.
Okay, all right. But in any event, Alex, who is doing an absolutely marvelous job, for any of you people who want to know what the communications person who works in Senator Moore's office is. By the way, you've always had good people. You've had great staff.
Yeah, no, I have,
Going back a whole
the
bunch.
first couple terms, there was some challenging times, but
Sure.
after that,
You settled in.
yep, no, things, we were able to get
Oh,
some.
the first couple of trips, you had kind of a challenging time with the state of the economy, if I
There was a lot of
remember
things that were
correctly.
challenging back then, yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, no,
But
once
you got
we-
some great people.
Yeah, and I've been lucky where the people we had have stayed, so I really haven't had the turnover a lot of
Oh,
other,
Shelley's been with you for,
since day one.
wow.
Yeah, but I had a different chief of staff,
Right.
so she came on the chief of staff my second term,
Yeah.
and then,
That's important.
yeah.
That is important.
And it's
Okay.
important having some stability too.
Absolutely.
And so the fact we've been able to keep a lot of people, and ultimately, in the end, this is really a stepping stone for a lot of them.
Sure.
So the ones that we have lost,
Right.
they've been with us, they were probably with me 4 or 5 years, if not longer, then have
Yeah.
moved on to better paying positions.
Good.
So, and that's an issue we have right now at the State House with the Senate employees are trying to unionize.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's been about, I think 11 of us have come out in support.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good.
So.
Good for you, Michael. All right.
So we're waiting to see.
That is said by a very liberal Democrat, okay, whose grandfather tried to organize the John Hancock Printing Department.
Well, it's kind
And he
of,
wound up in the basement.
well,
It's important.
It's important, but we're constantly advocating that employees should have the right to make that decision.
Sure.
So they've submitted the cards, and whether they do or not eventually unionize, that's up to them.
Yeah.
But I think they should have the right to at least have the election and make the determination whether they want to or not.
You got it.
And I think over the years, that's something that I think the Democrats have stood for, support of the right to unionize.
Sure.
And again, whether they do or not falls into the decisions of the employees.
Yeah.
But, so we're waiting to see how that's going to turn out.
Yeah, good idea. Okay, so the budget. The budget starts with the governor. It goes to the House of Representatives, all 160 of them. They take a look at it, do pluses, minuses, additions, subtractions, and then it comes over to the Senate that has 40 people.
Yes.
And you people look at what the House of Representatives has done with it, and then that's what Alex has sent me.
Yes, we put our
This is the
fingerprints
Senate
all over
part.
it.
Okay.
Yes.
Then it goes to a conference committee made up of members of the House, members of the Senate, and they sit down and try and bring it all together.
So you have 3 members. You'll have the conference committee is usually made up of the chair of Ways and Means,
Yeah.
the vice chairman of Ways and Means, and then a representative, the minority leader, or their representative.
Okay.
So that's the
So
House and
that's
Senate.
in each
That's in each
house,
branch.
in
So
each
then they
branch.
sit down and they will negotiate. The
Right.
items that are in the House and the Senate budget that are the same
Yeah.
do not go to conference. It's only ones that will have some differences.
Right.
That they sit.
To see if we can work that out.
Right.
Okay.
Or
And then-
the bartering system.
Yeah, I'm supposed,
Yeah.
exactly. It's called compromise, isn't that
Well,
exactly
that's-
what government is supposed to be?
Yes.
Except on the federal level.
Yeah.
They're-
Well, but well, actually, maybe we'll see some compromise coming out of the most recent, 12 tragedies in the last several days?
It's unbelievable.
A couple of weeks, rather?
Guns, guns, guns.
Yeah.
See if there's something comes of that. Okay, so then after that happens, it goes to Governor Baker, and Governor Baker,
We'll have 10 days to utilize his right to line item veto anything
some
in
of
the budget.
some of the things.
Yeah, and then
he can veto.
Yes, so he has the line item authority, so he doesn't have to veto whole sections, he can just do certain aspects of the budget.
Right.
And then the items that are vetoed, the legislature then has an opportunity to override those vetoes, and to override a veto, you need 2/3 vote in each body.
So the veto, overriding a veto requires
A 2/3 vote in the House,
and then the same
and
in
then,
the Senate.
yes,
Okay.
and the Senate cannot go before the House. So even if there are items that the Senate may want to override, if the House doesn't want to override it and doesn't send it to us, we can't do anything. It has to start with the House.
Oh, gotcha, okay, all right, all right. All right, for those folks who want a little civics class, you know, civics classes are not just for school kids, okay? Although it's desperate for school kids.
Yes.
Okay, but you know, there's a lot of adults who really and truly have to understand what the process is.
Well,
That's the process, you got it? Okay.
Well, there's
Take notes.
been many years that civics was not taught.
Oh, exactly.
And that's, I think, that is amazing. When I first got elected, that was one of the things, surprisingly, that when I went to different, I'll say,
Schools.
senior centers at different locations, and to hear that a lot of voters didn't have an understanding of what really fell within the responsibilities of the different elected.
Exactly, exactly.
And that's why I do think it's important.
Yeah,
that we
really,
teach it
really
again.
important. I remember a whole bunch of years ago, some wise person decided, you know, we should have some people come in and talk to our high school kids at Shrewsbury High about government, okay? I actually started years ago, I started a student government day, in
Yep.
which they came in and they'd be the selectmen and the school committee and the finance committee and all that sort of stuff. It was fun, it lasted for 3 or 4 years. And I remember going to, you know, to the high school at one point and going to it and saying, okay, this is an awful lot of blank slates here about just, you know, what is government all about?
Yeah.
Really and truly. So hopefully it's getting better. All right, back to the budget. Couple things that you have got in the budget that is important to the most important part of your job, which is the town of Shrewsbury,
Shrewsbury,
all
yes.
38,000 of us, okay? And that was amendments that you stuck in
Yes.
for the town of Shrewsbury. And it is $69,000 for Shrewsbury to purchase new voting machines. I
Yes.
thought about those, they were out, I guess, huh?
Yeah. So this is, so basically what we do is during the budget process, we reach out to all my municipalities.
Sure.
And we,
I'm
Right.
joking. You do 7
oh, no,
towns
yeah, no,
and-
just so
out of
people
which-
realize, when these items that we put in for earmarks,
Yeah.
all come from the
Town.
the town officials. So it's not just something that we're advocating for, just for the sake of
I get you,
me
I
liking
get
it.
you. And-
So we did 69,000 for the town to purchase new voting machines.
Yeah.
They requested, I think, 30,000 or 35,000 for the next item, Shrewsbury, money to help fund physical
Physical examinations.
physical examinations for firefighters. But we actually were only able to get them 25 but it pays for the majority of it.
Close enough.
Yeah, and then I have some other stuff that we've gotten. $10 million we were able to get to extend early college.
Yeah, yeah.
That's to cover high school students, and also it's similar to early
Summer
college.
programs, summer
Yeah,
programs, that's
well,
what
it's allow them now to spend the money in the summer.
That is great.
And also
Absolutely
dual
great.
enrollment programs are the same thing. So early college allows students in high school to take college programs.
Right,
And
exactly.
actually, so it saves them, when they graduate, they'll have college credits.
Right.
It'll also save them on tuition that they have to pay.
Yeah.
And a good portion of the students that take the early college programs are students that might not have thought that they could take college programs, had the ability to pass college classes. So they take the classes, they get an understanding of the class, and they realize that they have the skills to do it, and some go on to college. And that who may not have thought of it before.
Money for education, 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 education.
Yeah.
So bloody important, it really and truly.
Yeah, we actually, in the budget, there was $6 billion that went to Chapter 70, which is $495 million over last fiscal year.
Okay, we're slowly running out of time, but chapter 70 is important. This is chapter 70. Chapter 70 is the money that is designated to go back to cities and towns.
For school funding.
School funding.
Yep, and then we also, so we provided $495 million over last year. We also gave we increased the per pupil minimum aid from $30 to $60. So we doubled that, so that helps the schools that may not have meet some of the full funding parameters that would fall into Chapter 70. We increased the UGG, which is the unrestricted general government aid, to $1.231 billion.
What's that mean, unrestricted government?
That's the town side. So this would go to the municipal side of government. So the Chapter 70
That's been
school.
increased too.
Yes, that was increased. And we actually increased it slightly above what the House gave.
Okay.
So that's an item that will go to conference.
Right, okay.
So another item that I did in the budget, which I don't know if we talked about before, I don't know if everybody remembers the case of that poor girl, Harmony Montgomery,
Yeah.
the one given to her father in New Hampshire.
Right.
So basically, the Office of Child Advocacy, which
Boy,
does.
I'd like to do a whole program with you on the Department of Children and Family Services.
Well, so this is going to create a 27-person special task force made of people from the judiciary,
Find out
advocates.
how this is working.
And this is going to tackle that. That this poor girl, 4.5, was given to her father, who she hadn't seen in years. He just started to get back into life. No one really verified the information that he was providing.
And then he immediately moves to New Hampshire.
Well, he was there when he petitioned to get her.
Oh, I got you.
So, and this was an issue that so this involves the judiciary, because the judge that oversaw the case used New Hampshire law rather than Massachusetts law, because there's an interstate compact.
Totally confusing, and the unfortunate part about that is that poor kid is
Still missing.
unaccounted for
Yeah.
after that entire period of time. Poor unfortunate little kid who had physical disability, had one eye. It was a terrible situation.
Well, then we had.
I've always, as a practicing lawyer for a substantial number of years, I've always had some concerns about that particular aspect of our agency government, really and truly.
Look, it's a tough job.
It's an impossible job, and they're
But I guess-
understaffed like crazy, and we have 1 minute.
But the problem is, when you have
Thank you,
decisions being made that go against the best interest,
Yeah.
if you look at the Office of the OCA investigation, the priority or the emphasis on this case was reunification of the child with the parents.
With the parents.
Which it sounds great. We're all for that,
It
but
does.
it doesn't do anyone any
lot of
good
times
when you're putting the child back in jeopardy.
You're
It
exactly-
should be with unification with the safety of the child with the priority.
Exactly right. And
So-
it seemed as though everybody kind of messed up a little bit, really and truly.
Oh, really, they've right, in every aspect of it.
Right.
The only one who didn't mess up, in all honesty, well, you could say didn't mess up, but it seemed like if you read the report, the investigation, the attorney for the father seemed like he was the one who came in there better prepared to represent his client.
That's exactly what happened. Yeah.
So,
Too bad. Okay. This tells me we only have 30 seconds left, or less than 30 seconds. It's just great that we're doing this on a regular basis. I'm going to be around this summer. You're going to be around.
I'm gonna be here.
We'll find some. Well, you got an election. You got an election coming up in September. You have to be around.
yeah, I have to be around, and we got 2 more months of session, so we're looking at maybe doing an economic development bill, possibly another opera bill. We still have $2.5 billion left in that.
Okay.
So we're looking at those possibilities.
We'll talk about that because by the next time, we're going to have those kind of under control and on
And hopefully
times.
this will be resolved.
You got it. And until the next time, which will be quite, not too terribly long in the future, thank you so much for joining us, and see us the next time.